At the end of 2019, the small town of Rexburg, Idaho, became the center of national attention in the United States when two children, Joshua J.J. Vallow, 7 years old, and Tylee Ryan, 16 years old, suddenly vanished without a trace. Their mother, Vallow Daybell, once described by friends as Mother of the Year, appeared indifferent to her children's disappearance. Meanwhile, she and her new husband, Chad Daybell, a novelist who wrote about the end of the world, were enjoying their honeymoon on a Hawaii beach. This unusual behavior prompted family, friends, and police to ask, "Lori, where are the kids?" The story began in late September 2019 when JJ and Tylee were last seen. JJ, a boy with autism, was photographed in red pajamas on September 22nd at Lori's home in Rexburg. Tylee, his protective older sister, was last seen in a photo taken at Yellowstone National Park with her mother, brother, and uncle Alex Cox on September 8th. After that, they were never seen again. JJ's extended family, particularly his grandmother, Kay Woodcock, repeatedly contacted Lori for answers but received only vague responses. "They're with my friend in Arizona." The Rexburg police took notice when Kay requested a welfare check for JJ in November 2019. Upon arriving at Lori's home, they discovered that she and Chad had left without providing any information about the children. Lori's silence in response to police questions, "Where are your kids?" heightened suspicions. What began as a simple missing children case quickly escalated into one of the most complex and chilling criminal investigations in Idaho's history. Vallow Daybell was born in 1973 in Loma Linda, California, USA. In 1992, she married her first husband. They had no children and soon divorced. In 1995, she married her second husband, with whom she had a son named Colby Vallow. They divorced in February 1998. In 2001, she married Joseph Ryan and had a daughter, Tylee Ryan. In 2004, Lori divorced again, with the proceedings finalized in 2005. A year later, in February 2006, Lori married businessman Charles Vallow, marking her fourth marriage. Charles converted from Catholicism to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS, at his wife's request. They enjoyed a peaceful married life. Charles had a sister, Kay Woodcock, and her husband, Larry Woodcock, who helped care for JJ, their grandson. In 2014, the Vallows adopted JJ and raised him as their own son. The boy had autism, and Kay knew her brother and Lori could provide more attention to JJ than they could. Charles was a friendly, kind man. To many, he and Lori seemed like a happy and perfect couple. Vallow Daybell was once a devoted mother, a beauty pageant contestant, and an active community member. April Raymond, a friend of Lori's from 2015 in Hawaii, recalled, "She did everything for JJ and Tylee. They were the center of her life. JJ, her adopted son with autism, required special care, and Lori was always patient with him. Tylee, her teenage daughter from a previous marriage, was also deeply attached to her brother, often acting as a second mother." But things changed around 2015 when Lori became engrossed in the books and podcasts of Chad Daybell. Chad, a former gravedigger in Rexburg, had turned to writing novels. He lived with his wife, Tammy Daybell, in Springville, Utah, where they ran a company that published his books. Chad's novels focused on the end of the world, and he claimed to receive visions from God. His series, Standing in Holy Places, suggested the world was nearing its end, prophesying events to come and offering guidance on maintaining faith as the world collapsed. He believed some people on earth were zombies, souls possessed by evil spirits, and the only way to free them was to destroy their bodies. In his podcasts, he claimed to be a chosen one, capable of communicating with mystical forces. In June 2015, Chad and his wife moved to Salem, Idaho, after he heard a divine voice instructing him to relocate to holy ground. Lori met Chad in 2018 when they appeared on a podcast together. He told her they had been married in a past life, that he was James and she was Elena. Rather than being alarmed, Lori was drawn to his words. At the time, Lori was still married to Charles Vallow, a successful businessman, while Chad lived with Tammy Daybell, the mother of his 5 children. However, Lori and Chad's relationship soon crossed the line from friendship. Melanie Gibb, a close friend of Lori's, testified that they began an affair, meeting at hotels and sharing extreme religious beliefs. Lori's behavioral shift worried her friends, but no one suspected it would lead to a series of horrific crimes. As Lori fully embraced the world Chad had crafted, she became a different person. In February 2019, Charles filed for divorce. He had also reported to police that Lori threatened to kill him, claiming she was a divine being sent by God to lead humanity after the apocalypse. She also stole $35,000 from his business account. The next day, Lori disappeared, leaving her husband and 2 children for 58 days. Charles later withdrew the divorce filing, hoping to reconcile and support her through what he believed were mental health struggles. July 11, 2019, marked the first turning point in the story. Charles Vallow, no longer living with his wife, arrived at Lori's home in Chandler, Arizona, to pick up JJ for school. Inside were Lori, Tylee, JJ, and Alex Cox, Lori's brother, who saw himself as her protector. According to Zulema Passons, who later married Alex, Chad had told Alex that God had tasked him with protecting Lori, and Alex fully believed it. When Charles entered, an argument erupted between him and Lori. Alex told police that Charles attacked Lori, forcing him to intervene. In the scuffle, Alex drew a gun and shot Charles dead on the spot. Alex's 911 call was eerily calm. "I just shot my brother-in-law in self-defense. He's not moving anymore."
And is he hurt or is he alive? Or?
Yeah, there's blood. He's not moving.
Police arrived to find Alex sitting on the curb, while Lori, Tylee, and JJ had left in a car. Lori later returned and was questioned along with Alex and Tylee. She showed no grief, even smiling at her husband's death. All 3 claimed self-defense, and they were released without charges. But something was off. Charles had reported to police in January 2019 that Lori threatened to kill him, calling him Ned Schneider, a demon she believed had possessed his body.
Why don't you come over here? What did she say yesterday?
She said, "You're not Charles. I don't know who you are, what you did with Charles."
Okay. So what makes her a danger to herself and to others?
She threatened me, murder me, kill me.
She threatened to murder you?
Yes.
Charles had also changed his $1 million life insurance beneficiary from Lori to his sister, Kay Woodcock, before his death. Text messages between Lori and Chad afterward revealed her frustration. "I just got a letter from the insurance company. I'm not the beneficiary anymore. It's like a spear through my heart." Prosecutors argued money was a major motive for Lori, and Charles's death was the first step in her and Chad's plan. Neighbors reported hearing a pool party at Lori's house shortly after Charles's death. After Charles's death, Lori moved to Rexburg, Idaho with Tylee and JJ, near where Chad lived with Tammy. Alex Cox also relocated to the same apartment complex as his sister. But within months, both children vanished. Tylee was last seen on September 8, 2019, at Yellowstone, while JJ appeared in a photo on September 22nd. Melanie Gibb, who stayed at Lori's home that night, testified that she saw Alex carry JJ upstairs, possibly to Lori's room. The next morning, JJ was gone. When Melanie asked, Lori said, "He's a zombie." According to Melanie, Lori and Chad believed Tylee and JJ were possessed by zombies. They had a system of classifying souls as light or dark, and both children were listed as dark. Zulema Passons revealed that Lori once spoke of a demon named Hillary in Tylee's body, making her a danger. With JJ, Lori also called him a zombie after he misbehaved in the house. Lori never reported the children missing. Instead, she continued collecting survivor benefits from Charles's death for both Tylee and JJ. When friends and family asked about them, Lori said they were at a friend's house. On October 19, 2019, Tammy Daybell, Chad's wife of 29 years, was found dead in her bedroom at their Salem, Idaho home. Their son, Garth Daybell, testified that he heard his father call, "Garth, Garth, come quick." When Garth rushed in, he found his mother half on the bed, half on the floor. He placed her on the bed and told his father, "I think she's dead." Initial coroner reports concluded Tammy died of natural causes, possibly asphyxiation in her sleep, and the family declined an autopsy. But Tammy's death raised red flags. Just 17 days later, Chad married Lori in Hawaii, shocking neighbors and friends. Alice Gilbert, a neighbor of Chad's, testified that when she checked on him after Tammy's death, he said, "I'm really doing fine. I've met the woman I'm going to marry." Alice met Lori soon after and saw her giggling in Chad's arms, as if they were teenagers in love. More strikingly, Lori slipped to Alice that she had recently lost a daughter, a statement contradicting her claims to family that the kids were safe. The wedding in Hawaii, per investigators, was funded by Tammy's life insurance. Kay Choi Wei-jae's grandmother requested an investigation, uneasy about her grandson's safety. Police conducted a welfare check in November 2019, shortly after Lori and Chad returned from Hawaii. Lori claimed JJ was with Melanie Gibb in Arizona. A lie. Chad had called Melanie, asking her not to speak to police, and Lori later told her to lie about JJ being with her. Melanie felt put in a very weird and uncomfortable position. Initially, she stayed silent, but on December 6th, she called Lori and Chad, secretly recorded the conversation, and alerted authorities, revealing that not only JJ, but also Tylee had vanished.
Is JJ safe? He is safe and happy.
You knew that put you in a danger.
Police exhumed Tammy's body on December 11th, 2019. Autopsy results showed she died of asphyxiation, with bruises indicating she was restrained. This was no natural death, it was murder. Prosecutors alleged Tammy was the final obstacle keeping Chad and Lori apart, and her death paved the way for their next steps. The following day, December 12th, Lori's brother Alex Cox died of high blood pressure. His wife later testified that he feared becoming a scapegoat for Lori and Chad.
He was very quiet and unresponsive, and then he said, I think I'm being their fall guy. I said, a fall guy for what? What is it that you have done? What have you done that you would be the fall guy for? And then he said, either I am a man of God or I am not.
As the disappearance of Tylee and JJ became national news, pressure mounted on Lori and Chad. They fled to Hawaii, but on February 20th, 2020, Lori was arrested in Kauai on child abandonment charges and extradited to Idaho. Chad stayed by her side, but police now turned their focus to him as the children remained missing, and Tammy's death grew suspicious. Melanie, Lori's niece, had grown close to her aunt's religious activities in 2018 and insisted she and her husband stockpile food for the apocalypse. On October 2nd, 2019, Brandon Boudreau, Melanie's estranged husband, was shot at from a Jeep while driving home in Gilbert, Arizona. The bullet missed his head by inches. The Jeep sped off, but Boudreau provided the license plate to police, who traced it to Charles Vallow. After learning of Tylee and JJ's disappearance, Boudreau believed Charles's death, the children's vanishing, and the attempt on his life were tied to Lori's religious group. In February 2020, Boudreau filed a court document claiming the assassination attempt was motivated by insurance money, that the shooter might have been Alex Cox, Lori's recently deceased brother, and that Melanie might know the whereabouts of Tylee and JJ. On June 9, 2020, using Alex Cox's phone data, police searched Chad's backyard. The data showed Alex was there for 2 hours on September 9, 2019, right after Tylee disappeared. The FBI also uncovered a text Chad sent Tammy that day, claiming he'd shot a raccoon and they were burying it. In an area once used as the Daybell family's pet cemetery, police found Tylee's charred and dismembered body. 50 meters away, under a tree, they dug up JJ's body, still in his red pajamas, bound tightly with duct tape from chin to forehead, his hands and feet wrapped in multiple layers. Forensic pathologist Garth Warren concluded JJ died of asphyxiation from a plastic bag and duct tape, while Tylee's cause of death couldn't be determined due to the severe condition of her remains. This discovery turned the case from a disappearance into a murder investigation. Chad was arrested at the scene, while Lori, already jailed in Idaho, remained silent. DNA on a shovel in Chad's garage matched Tylee's. Alex's fingerprints and a strand of Lori's hair were found on the tape binding JJ, marking the first physical evidence directly linking Lori to her son's death. On July 2, 2020, prosecutors dropped the child abandonment charges against Lori, replacing them with charges of obstruction and concealing evidence related to her children's remains. On May 25, 2021, Chad and Lori were indicted on first-degree murder conspiracy charges for the deaths of Tylee, JJ, and Tammy. Lori also faced charges of theft related to the children's survivor benefits. Chad faced insurance fraud charges tied to Tammy's policy. In June 2021, a Maricopa County, Arizona grand jury indicted Lori on one count of first-degree murder conspiracy for Charles Vallow's death, alleging she and Alex killed him to seize assets and marry Chad. Lori's trial began in April 2023 in Boise, Idaho, lasting 4 weeks with over 60 witnesses. Prosecutor Lindsay Blake opened with a powerful statement. Money, power, and sex drove Lori to get what she wanted, no matter who she had to eliminate. They portrayed Lori as a master manipulator who planned the deaths of Charles, Tylee, JJ, and Tammy to live her dream life with Chad.
Money, power, and sex. That's what this case is about. It didn't matter what obstacles she had to remove to get what she wanted. And if it was a person, it didn't matter who.
Evidence included romantic texts between Lori and Chad sent shortly after Charles's death, GPS data placing Alex in Chad's backyard when the children were buried, and Lori's hair on JJ's body. Defense attorney Jim Archibald countered that no direct evidence proved Lori killed anyone. He said, Lori wasn't in the backyard when Chad and Alex buried the kids. That hair could have been on JJ from before. She was his mother. Archibald blamed Chad and Alex, arguing Lori was manipulated by Chad's religious beliefs. On Tammy's death, he asked, was it really murder or just a natural death? But prosecutor Rob Wood closed by emphasizing, Lori lied because she's guilty. The innocent don't need to lie. Melanie Gibb was a key witness. She testified that Lori called JJ a zombie the night he vanished and that Chad asked her to lie to police about JJ's whereabouts. Melanie secretly recorded a call with Lori and Chad in December 2019, where Chad said, JJ is safe and happy, but refused to say where. She turned the recording over to police, sparking a nationwide search. Zulema Pastanis, Alex Cox's wife, provided chilling testimony. She described casting out rituals Lori and Chad held to expel evil spirits from people, involving prayer and fasting. Zulema confirmed Lori believed Tylee was possessed by a demon named Hillary, while Alex saw JJ as a zombie needing destruction. She also testified that just before his death on December 12, 2019, Alex told her, I think I'm being set up as their fall guy. When Zulema pressed for details, Alex refused, saying only, I'm a man of God, or not. Alex's sudden death, ruled natural, left many questions unanswered. Lori's family played a crucial role in uncovering the truth. Summer Shiflett, Lori's sister, initially believed her sister wouldn't harm the children. But when Tylee and JJ's bodies were found, Summer confronted Lori in a jail call. The recording, played in court, captured Summer yelling, You lied to me! I don't even know who you are anymore. Summer testified that her trust was shattered, and she felt deeply betrayed. Colby Ryan, Lori's eldest son from a prior marriage, also spoke out. In a jail call, he told his mother, You've ripped my heart apart and everyone else's. In court, Colby acknowledged his mother changed after meeting Chad, but he never imagined she could harm anyone before that. His testimony bolstered the prosecution's claim that Lori was swept into Chad's extremist beliefs, leading to unthinkable acts.
You ripped my heart out and you ripped out everyone in this family's heart out.
After 7 hours of deliberation, on May 12, 2023, the jury found Lori guilty on all counts: first-degree murder of Tylee and JJ, conspiracy to murder Tammy, and theft of Social Security benefits. On July 31, 2023, Lori was sentenced to life without parole in Boise. At sentencing, she showed no remorse, declaring, Jesus knows no one was murdered in this case. Accidents happen, suicides happen. Judge Stephen Boyce rejected her defense, calling her actions the most evil and destructive path possible. Chad Daybell faced a separate trial in 2024 and was sentenced to death on June 1, 2024, for the same crimes. In October 2024, Colby Ryan posted a recorded jail call with his mother on his YouTube channel. In it, Lori claimed she received higher knowledge directly from Jesus and was on a sacred mission, saying Tylee and JJ visited her in spirit and hinting Tylee accidentally killed JJ, then killed herself out of guilt. Colby commented that his mother had been deceived beyond measure. The case left lingering questions. What role did Alex Cox play before his death? How many in Chad and Lori's religious group knew of the plan? And how did Lori, once a model mother, become a child killer? Larry Woodcock, JJ's grandfather, said outside the courthouse, "Love always wins, but my heart aches for these three, JJ, Tylee, and Tammy." Lori's trial for her husband's death is ongoing in Arizona, while she serves 5 life sentences without parole. The nearly 5-year investigation, from a mysterious disappearance to horrific discoveries in Chad's backyard, exposed a tale of fanaticism, greed, and betrayal. Though justice has been and is being served, the pain Lori and Chad inflicted will forever haunt those who once loved them. What do you think of this case? Leave a comment below. If you found this video interesting, subscribe for more. Thank you.